Catching a Killer, the latest book in GIB Consultancy's crime reference series, escorts the reader through crime scenes past and present, allowing you to play the detective. Combining the knowledge of crime historian Stephen Wade and former senior detective Stuart Gibbon. Begin your investigation with Catching a Killer from gibconsultancy.co.uk. This is Natalie Rolls, and you are listening to the Bill Podcast. Presented by Rob Cook. Brought to you in association with GeorgeFairbrother.com, shop.saturdaymorningpress.co.uk, vanguardcomics.co.uk, gibconsultancy.co.uk, and mcr-seo.com.
I was looking at some old newspaper articles recently, and there was a mention that when you, I think it was your decision to leave? It was, wasn't it? Yeah, and then you were offered another year's contract, which you declined. Is that correct?
They wanted to renew my contract. Felt like I'd had this amazing time and done some great work, and I wanted to experience new things. And it was kind of like, okay. And then they did come back and say, do I want to come back? And then it's difficult. It's really difficult. You just don't, making these decisions as an actress, you're kind of, there's no right or wrong, and you think I think in my head, I was like, I'm off to Hollywood, in hindsight, I wasn't. Should have stayed at the Bill. So you make these decisions, and do I have regret not going back? No, I don't. I mean, it was the right thing. It was the right time for me to go.
I think with the soap era that was only a few months around the corner, I think Roz would have fitted in really, really well with that. So, I think that there was longevity with the character, certainly. I take it, were you aware of any other plot lines they were planning for you that never came about with you departing?
No, you don't know. You are literally, it's not something that you're aware of, you've got these episodes coming up, planning it too far ahead. Sometimes if you've got big stuff coming, they'll discuss it with you. But they hadn't had too much discussions with, what was planned for my character.
Would you have ever gone back? Have they asked like 2-3 years down the line? Maybe, yeah. Never say never. And I mean, I really love being there. So yeah, absolutely. Where do you think Roz Clarke would have ended up in life after leaving Sunhill?
Well, if she didn't really sort her shit out, she probably would be working in a bar somewhere. But if she sorted herself out, she had potential to definitely she was very caring. So she'd probably be helping people in some way, and maybe working with children or, she was a real caring type and really wanted to help. So it would be some sort of kind of helping people. Yeah.
When you heard about the show ending, what were your thoughts and feelings on that?
I couldn't believe it, to be honest. When you would think that this is going to be around forever, and you think this is just going to be always going to be there. So it was a real shock to hear that. Yeah, I was like, I'm sure for lots of people, why?
Do you think, it's been rumours over the past 3, 4, 5 years of it coming back in some form or another. Do you think it could come back? It should come back? What are your thoughts on a revival?
So difficult, because it's kind of remembered in such a quite iconic way. If it comes back and they don't do it, it doesn't do it justice, then it might, take the shine off what the legacy that they had. So it's a really difficult thing trying to bring things back, I think. The storylines are there. It's a really great subject. And so it definitely would work. Maybe, I don't know, but, calling it the Bill and having the theme tune and everything, you'd be like, oh, I don't know. You don't want to ruin that legacy.
It's funny. We did a Meet the Presenters podcast a few weeks ago. There's Ollie and myself and a couple of other chaps, and we all had different ideas of how it could or should come back, which kind of just goes to how the fandom would probably feel as well. And one of us said no, it should come back as it was, and I said potentially maybe one-off plays where you could have a character that's now in Manchester investigating a crime, all that kind of thing. And then one of the other guys said something else. They're just interesting, the different feeling on it. So I do kind of maybe feel that if it did come back, you probably wouldn't please everyone because everyone's got their own different views on how it should come back.
Yeah, but what was the consensus, that it should come back?
Oh yeah, definitely right. We love the bill, hence why we do the podcast, you know.
Okay. Bring it back.
Bring it back. I mean, the fandom, I mean, it's been consistently repeated on Drama Channel, Watch, and that's just in the UK, and then it gets repeated across the world all the time. So it feels in some way like it's never left TV, even though it's been off ITV for 14 years now. So it does, in a weird way, feel like it's never fully gone, even though it has been, quite some time. And I guess the repeat fees for you must trickle in every now and again.
They did a long time ago. They stopped a long time ago. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, unfortunately not.
After you left the bill, you moved on to Casualty.
Mm-hmm.
How did that compare? You got 2 long-running shows all year round. I think Casualty only was doing one episode a week compared to the Bill's sort of 2 to 3. How did it compare working on both of those?
It was similar, kind of fast pace and working with lots of different people, but not on a scale like the Bill. The Bill was, unique in that way. And the way they ran things, it was a bit different in that way. But I mean, obviously going into a regular cast, having, supporting actors coming in and doing roles and going, all of those kind of things have the similarities, but the pace and the way that the Bill kind of just everything kind of worked together was a different feel.
Okay, it's interesting. The in terms of when you joined the Bill and later Casualty and had all these high profile roles, were you recognised in the streets, out and about in public? How was your public profile?
Yeah, I mean, I think at that point, once the Bill and Casualty, I'd find I was recognised. Usually at the times when you don't want to be, when you've got no makeup on and you're just, buying some apples in Sainsbury's and someone's like, oh my God. And you're like, oh, hi, I'm looking my worst. But no, it did. And I mean, it's really flattering. It's really nice for people to recognize you and see the stuff that you've done and have a chat with them. And so, no, I loved being recognized.
I was reading that you once switched on the Christmas lights at Ludlow about 25.
Then you hit the big time. And that's where I grew up. So that's my hometown. That's where I went to school from, the age of 6 until I was 16. So my secondary school was there. To have someone come from a small town and be an actress in series like The Bill and Casualty, for them it was quite a big deal. And I was in the papers quite a lot there. It's a nice story. It's just one of our owners who's gone to the big city and become an actress, and I think they were really proud. So when they asked me to switch on the Christmas lights, I was like, of course, forgot about that.
It's on the British newspaper archive, and there's this little black where I sent you the one of your cast photo looking behind the post, and there's a photo of you with 2 other people, but it's a scanned in black and white. You can sort of barely see who's on there, but it said you'd done the lights, and there was also another one where you'd opened a children's home, I think it was,
was it children's home or was it an old people's home?
Might be an old people's home, yes.
Yeah.
And I think that was another local to Ludlow one as well. So it's...
doing those kind of things is kind of I felt like honoured.
Also, you mentioned about trying to break Hollywood. Obviously,
Didn't.
Didn't?
It's okay. It's okay. I've got thick skin. You have to have when you've been an actress.
How did that? I mean, in terms of going, did you go over to Hollywood, attend functions, awards? How did that? How did you try and break Hollywood?
So I went over after Casualty, and I went for 3 months. And I think at that point in my career, I had kind of, I was 23. I'd just done 2 really amazing series. I'd just done a film and a few dramas, and all the casting directors knew who I was. It was kind of like I'd go in, someone, they'd be like, "Oh, hi, nice to see you again," and you go to America and you're no one, and no one knows who you are. They've not seen any of your work. You are like starting from scratch, and it is really nerve-wracking. And I was sent on castings, driving all around, Hollywood, you'd turn up at Universal Studios, onto the plot of Universal Studios for auditions there, and it felt like I was completely out of my depth, like, oh my God, I did not expect this. I really thought I was going to walk in and then go, "Oh, amazing, you're here, do you want this part?" No, it wasn't like that. So you go after role after role after role, and after 3 months I was there, I was just like, yeah, this isn't for me. I can't, well, firstly, I can't stay out here just, forever. And you either have to be there in actual castings. It's not, now you self-tape and you can send tapes over, and it's very different now. Whereas then you needed to be in the room and you need to meet people. And yeah, so I was just like, okay, I'm going to go back to the UK and continue there.
You eventually made the transition from actor to PT.
Yeah.
How did that decision come about?
So, I've been interested in health, fitness my entire life. I was kickboxing from the age of 18 to 28, and I got my black belt, and then I started doing yoga when I was 17, and being active is just like through my veins. And then very passionate about nutrition as well. And so, when my acting role started becoming, I was about 25, 26. And, you'd be waiting in between jobs, as actors call it. You're just resting in between jobs. You're unemployed, basically. And I was nannying, which I loved. I loved looking after kids. They were amazing children. And I just thought, okay, what's going to happen here? The acting roles are becoming less. I'm nannying more, and I need something else that I feel like there's a future in. What could I do? And what is my passion? What do I love? I don't want to go from something, especially, acting was my dream. I never thought I would do anything else. And to then think, you've got to think of a possible other career that you're going to want to do as much as I've loved acting. I don't want to be bitter about not being an actress. So it has to be something I'm passionate about. And that, being a personal trainer, ticked all the boxes. I didn't realize at the time how much I would love it. Yeah, I qualified and just thought I would do a bit of personal training with acting roles on the side. And after 3 or 4 months of personal training, I realized that, I've got to give it my all. I can't be 1 foot in the door of everywhere. And decided that I was just that was it. I think I was 27 when I fully went, that's me. I'm going to be a full-time personal trainer and kind of in control of my destiny, not waiting for the phone to ring, not walking into a room going, "Please pick me," and the thing with being an actor is there's so many amazing highs, but there are also so many lows and so many letdowns. And that's why I think being in something like The Bill and Casualty, you have this just knowing where you're at, which is so nice as an actor. And you can see why people stay, why you want that security. And it was nice to have that back again. Yeah. And what are we now? 17 years on, 16 years on. And yeah, I've been a personal trainer celebrities and actors and presenters and then just amazing working mums and dads, and so it's been really fulfilling and lovely, and I get to do what I love and exercise and talk about food and nutrition and yeah.
And obviously the move to Sweden, you do a lot of that remotely now. How does that differ? It might sound a silly question, but how does it differ from doing it more in person? I suppose there's obstacles to overcome because you are doing a workout to a screen as opposed to having a group of people in front of you. How did you overcome that change, and I guess that performance in a way, because I'd imagine you are performing in a way as the trainer in front of everyone.
Of course. I mean, I really didn't think that this would ever happen. I mean, when I met my husband and he lived in Sweden, we kind of said, I was like, I can't leave London. My business is here. My clients are here. I can't move my business to Sweden, especially living in rural countryside, And then COVID happened and everyone was stuck at home, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Sweden, thinking I was coming here for a month. And everyone was stuck at home. And I said to my clients, do you want to do some exercise on FaceTime or Zoom? And they were like, yes, we do. And it was massive success. It was literally changed I know it was awful for so many people, but it was a very positive thing for me. It meant that, I could move here and be with my husband. And I still train most of my clients that I had in London online. And I've been able to reach more people now through just doing open online classes. I've got a nice little setup here. You can see all my weights and my mat behind me. I'm in my studio now. This is where I work out.
I see your rings in the background as well.
And the rings up there, exactly. Obviously I miss the personal being there. It is different, but it does work. And I'm very grateful that it works. It's really good. It's really good.
I love the content you've got on your Instagram. It's so honest with life and what people, I won't say suffer with, but like you did one recently about your trips to the loo, for example. Yeah. And yeah, it's just normal stuff, and because it makes you then think, oh, hang on, and it's just honest. There's no sheen over it. It's no like.
Well, this is it. Yeah. I mean, when I started Instagram, however million years ago it feels like, there was a bit of a kind of a guard up, and then the more I did it, the more I just thought, I can't. I've got to be me. If I'm on this thing, and I'm kind of, especially when you're doing stories and you're talking to camera. I didn't want to be one of these filtered fake, and so I'm on there with no makeup. I'm on there with, first thing in the morning when I'm looking exhausted. It's real, it has to be that, and that has to be for me. And I shared my, when I had my miscarriages, I shared all those things. And it's kind of like, I know when I see someone who is telling a real story, how that impacts me. And I'm like, oh, thank you. You're human. Shit happens. This is difficult. We're all going through our own, whereas so much social media isn't like that. And it's the way that I have to do it for me. It just works for me like that.
And you've got over 20,000 followers, or probably more than that now on Instagram. So you're obviously doing something right there with
well, you say that, but it's like, it's so funny, isn't it? How you can like compare yourself to other people who have got more followers. It's like, well, I've been doing it so long, I don't feel like I've got that many followers. But, I've got really lovely, loyal people that, who do follow my journey as well, not just for fitness stuff. It's a bit of life stuff as well. And that's really nice. So, yeah.
You published a couple of books in recent years. How was that in terms of the writing and publishing process, and having your own book in your hand?
Amazing, and absolutely terrifying. I mean, the first book, Nourish, I'd kind of written it all in my head before we did the book. I had so many ideas. I'd been personal trainer for 10 years at the time. And I was just like, so I had it, and that was really kind of easy to a degree. And also it was a collaboration of me and two other people, a chef and my sister. So we all had like these parts, and it all came together really nicely. The second book was like, Oh my God. There was just a lot, I felt lots of pressure. I'm not good. I mean, I've never had a boss. I've always been self-employed. I've always, obviously, so I've been in charge of and having someone say, you have to have this by this date, it was just like, I found it very, I'm not good under pressure. But I got it done and had an amazing book and met my husband on the book. He was the photographer
Oh,
who
wow.
took pictures on that book. So, I mean, it was a bit of a love story. And that's what, led me to my husband. So, I mean, the book's there. It created my future.
Oh, that's amazing. That really
Yeah.
is. Mm. Have you got any more plans for any more books, or are you happy now you've done those? And
There's ideas that we have that, but it's like everything is quite saturated. People publish their own books and everything is kind of, so unless you have something that you feel is like you're so passionate about and you want to really like put everything into, I mean, I've got a million ideas, but to put the work in and get it done is another thing, especially when you've got a 2.5-year-old, a business. We're doing a renovation as well here in Sweden.
oh,
So there's a lot going on. And also I kind of realized when I left London and I kind of decreased my hours that I worked because I wanted more of a work-life balance. I was working as a personal trainer and I was doing 10, 12-hour days and getting up at 5 o'clock every morning for 12 years. I just want to just minimize everything. I don't need so much stuff. And I just want to reduce, all of that, earn less money, spend less money, and have more time. It was very important to me, and that's what we've created. So it's really nice.
and time does fly, especially in this day and age with everything. You can get everything so quickly, or it's all at a tap of a button. It does fly by. And I know I've found, 'cause my son's 5 years old, and our life has changed so much just having him in our lives. And you think of the stuff we used to do and things. You just change your life. Outlook changes by having a little mini human there at your beck and call.
And especially when they're so small, those first 5 years are so precious. I can dedicate more time to work when she's at school, and until that happens, I want to be with her as much as I can. Obviously, it's lovely being able to work, so I still have that kind of bit of me, not just mum, but also really being there for her. And it really means a lot. And so that's what we've chosen.
We have. You did a retreat fairly recently, I saw on your Instagram, where you went away to Malta for a few days, and I think you got another one planned. How did the retreats come about?
Yeah, my sister Sadie, she works at Amchara, or not works at Amchara. She knows that the guys who own Amchara in Malta, and she's been working with them. She qualified as a yoga teacher recently. And she said to me, I'd love for us to do a retreat there together. Yeah, we're kind of quite different personalities. She's kind of a bit more grounded and I'm a bit like, woohoo! So I bring the energy to the retreat and she brings the kind of the meditation and the calmness to the retreat. And the two of us together with Amchara, who are amazing with food and nutrition, and it's in a beautiful place. And yeah, it's a really nice opportunity for me to like be personal with people again, seeing face to face, be like, I can touch you, not in a weird way, but I can touch you. And that's really nice. And also to get some quality time with my sister, to like be with her and hang out and travel to Malta, which I've never been to Malta before. Yes, that was really nice. Got another one in November, which I'm excited about. So yeah.
Will that become a regular thing for you guys then?
I'm hoping we're going to be able to do 2 a year. Yeah. And depending on schedules and everything, but it would be really nice to be able to do a couple a year and keep that going. And one day I'm hoping that we'll be able to do retreats here in Sweden when we finished our renovation and have people, and do a little retreat vibe at some point in the future. Yeah.
Would if anyone came calling for an acting role, would you ever look at going back into the acting game at all, or is that firmly in your past now?
Yes, I would because I loved it. It was my dream, and I enjoyed it so much. And if it didn't take me away from my family for too long, or they could all come with me, then absolutely yes, I would.
Looking back at your acting roles that you've had, is there one particular performance or one particular show that if someone was to ask you, what shall I watch of what you've done, what would you give as an answer?
Well, after watching all those episodes in the bill, I'd say watch that, because I was like, I was going to say I was pretty good.
You were.
but I won't. Yeah. Well, I did say it. I said it. No, it was. I really enjoyed that. I did a thing called The Stepfather, and I think that was a slightly different kind of character for me, slightly more mature, slightly. So, because a lot of them were kind of cocky, so for me, it was kind of a growing up character. But I mean, you're going to see the real me in the bill anyway, as in character wise, you get a really good, resume.
And just go back to, if you were to return to acting, what kind of role would you like to do? If you had like a dream one.
I would love an action role, where I could show off some kickboxing moves and stunts and that kind of thing. Action. Somewhere like in Australia in the mountains, beautiful, so you get an amazing holiday as well. No, I'm joking. But no, and like a full-on meaty kind of gritty, like G.I. Jane. I'm that kind of person.
Hey, no, well, go for
one-arm press-ups.
Yeah. Have you got a message for the fans watching this podcast and the watch the show?
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed my character and watching her journey. Thanks for watching the podcast and listening to what I have to say, and really appreciate you being solid fans.
Well, thank you for your time. It's been lovely chatting to you and lovely reminiscing over Ros Clarke and watching all those old episodes of yours.
Oh no, thank you so much. I do, and I really loved just looking back at and seeing that first casting that I did and watching back at the episodes. I literally haven't seen those in over 20 years, so it really was like, it was so lovely to watch and brought back lots of happy memories. So thank you for giving me that opportunity as well.
This is Natalie Rolls, and you have been listening to the Bill Podcast, brought to you in association with GeorgeFairbrother.com, shop.saturdaymorningpress.co.uk, vanguardcomics.co.uk, gibconsultancy.co.uk, and mcr-seo.com. The Bill Podcast is produced by Oliver Crocker, co-produced by Ben Adams, Glenn Allen, Glenn Cooney, Georgina Dark, Rebecca DeProse, Bryony Kelly, Maz Mirabilis, Alex Mockler, and Simon Wolfe. Our executive producers are Isabel Allen, Mark Bennett, Rob Cook, James Crissell, Alana Dewar, Andrew Dyack, Dan Evans, George Fairbrother, Stuart Gibbon, Luke Hegarty, Robert Hoger, Edward Kellett, James Ledane, Thomas Johnston, Gary Moncur, Danny Morris, Steph Morris, Laura Penny-Fay, Isaac Powell, Alistair Wrigley, Michael Seeley, Andrew Sumner, Angel Stannard, Paul Statter, Patrick Stratford, Michael Weil, and Sarah Went. Huge thanks to all you lovely producers who make the Bill Podcast possible. For over 200 hours of bonus content, visit patreon.com/The Bill Podcast.